Welcome back. The focus of our broadcast tonight is period poverty. Impoverished girls and young women become further disadvantaged if they cannot attend school, for example, because they simply don't have the correct products for menstruation. So is there a role for the private sector? Before we return to Bongiwe speaking to role players on the ground in Soweto, let's speak to Stavros Nicolaou, an executive at Aspen. Stavros, thank you for being with us. For once, we're not talking about the Pfizer vaccine or what's happening with vaccines. There are so many causes in South Africa. So as a health company, how do you assess that when it comes to CSI making a difference? Is there a big role here for the private sector? Because period poverty is a big issue.
Francis, firstly, it's a great privilege to be on this program. It's a program of great difference, but also of great impact, I might add. So before I respond to you, let me also commend what you, Bongi, SABC, and of course the SIA Foundation and the Minister are doing this evening.
Thank you.
This evening is very much about, as I said, impact. And that's how we at Aspen view our role in broader society. And this is not just about because ESG has come about. I think we have a very particular focus at building or assisting to build and support sustainable communities around our country. Without sustainable communities, we can never hope to achieve the type of transformation, equality, and also reduce unemployment and poverty in our country unless we've got that same commitment to building sustainable communities. And this initiative this evening is very much about building sustainable communities. It's not, I'd like to coin a phrase, it's going from period poverty to period equality. And the sad reality in our country, as the Minister said earlier in her insert, is that in this day and age, there are young girls that do not present at school because they are either embarrassed, don't have sanitary towels, skip school. There are young ladies in the workplace who skip work and get penalized for that. This is all very disempowering to women. It doesn't assist to build sustainable communities or promote an agenda of equality, gender equality or otherwise. So this is an extremely important initiative and one that the private sector should be supporting. And Francis, if you will allow me, on that same note, if I can, on behalf of Aspen Pharmacare this evening, pledge the full 50,000 sanitary towels that are, that you are trying to collect this evening. We'll give a commitment or a pledge this evening to fund all 50,000.
Wow, thank you very much. I'd been told you might want to make a pledge, so you're saying you'll cover the full 50,000 of those sanitary pads required.
Yeah, that's correct. I think it's 50,000. It should benefit around 25,000 girls. We understand certainly, this is a monthly occurrence. Very important, of course, that these initiatives are not once off. We have a program at Aspen where we support various, sanitary hygiene, period poverty campaigns. And it ought to be an ongoing thing that we do. We need to work collaboratively as we do as a private sector with government, with NGOs, to ensure that the stigma that's attached to girls not, going to school, being embarrassed at school because they just simply cannot access something as basic as a sanitary towel. We've got to make sure that we put pay to all of that and that it becomes a thing of the past. And of course, I'm not for one moment either, Francis, underestimating the public health issues that manifest from poor menstrual hygiene. I'm talking about, reproductive diseases, upper respiratory tract infections, and even something which is quite common, pelvic inflammatory disease, which is a very painful condition, will keep girls away from school and the workplace even longer. Those are all manifestations of poor menstrual hygiene. So these are all the things that this campaign that you have launched here this evening can assist and contribute towards. So high impact and a really good campaign.
Yeah, the minister was actually just talking about that, saying there are people making menstrual pads. In fact, young entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, they should be supported, but they find it very hard to meet the standards required. But what you're talking about is there are health issues, so we have to be very careful about those standards that are required. We have to ensure that these are safe products across the board. So thank you for bringing that up. And thank you for being a man and an executive willing to wade in and get involved. Tonight we've really highlighted an NGO doing great work on the ground. And is this how it should work? Companies supporting the people who have identified the problem and are out there solving the problem well and transparently.
Yeah, Francis, I think just two final comments, I think, on my side. I think firstly, we need to support localization. So if there are those companies that are producing locally, we most definitely need to support them. And I will give an undertaking this evening. I'll serve in a different capacity on the Proudly South African board. I will ensure that we put the necessary people in contact to support these companies that are producing locally. And then finally, just on the public health issues, these are extremely, so sanitary towels are a proven mechanism of reducing all these conditions that I spoke about earlier, pelvic inflammatory disease and others. So we need to encourage, not only because of the stigma that's attached to this, but also the public health benefits. We need to encourage people to support this campaign on that basis too.
All right, thank you so much for that and for that donation. Stavros Nicolaou, an executive from Aspen. We often talk about the COVID-19 health issues, but Aspen saying tonight that it will cover 50,000 sanitary pads that we wanted to raise funds for. So Aspen covering that and saying it could go further as well. Thank you very much.